Welcome back, everybody. I am Adam Welch for Contrastly.com. Thank you so much for joining us back for another video. Today we're going to be talking about something so easy, so simple, folks, that it's almost laughable. I'm going to show you 3 different ways to place a border around your photos in Lightroom Classic, Lightroom CC, that's Lightroom Creative Cloud, and in Photoshop CC, Photoshop Creative Cloud. Now, there are a few reasons why you would want to put a border around your pictures. The first being for the simple aesthetics of it, especially for posting on social media, any kind of picture that has a light or dark background, or a photo that is a dark picture on a dark background, or vice versa. It's always good to put some type of little frame buffer around your digital images when you're posting them online, just depending on the background they're going to be displayed. The second reason is if you're printing your pictures, and I hope that you do, guys, if you're printing your pictures for yourself or for clients, especially for clients, it's generally a good idea to put a little bit of a buffer, a little bit of a border around the actual image and the peripheral of the frame, just to give them a little bit of wiggle room when they're mounting their pictures, when they're matting them. And another reason is because once they're mounted, it just gives a little bit of a border around the image between the picture and the mat, and it makes it much more professional, much more gallery looking, much more of a museum quality when you have that little bit of a border around the picture. So let's get started here in Lightroom Classic. If you know us here at Contrastly at all, Lightroom Classic is what we cover in our excellent Lightroom Mastery ebook and our equally excellent Decoding Lightroom video course. We are, just for your information, working in Adobe Lightroom Classic version 9.3. And I'll say again, guys, all of these methods are incredibly easy, and we're going to start off with the easiest way of them all first here in Lightroom Classic. We've got our photo here. This is Route 66 in Arizona. All you need to do to add a simple white border around this picture is go down here to Transform in your basic, your Develop panel. Go to Scale and use this slider to simply dial that back. Usually 94, 95, somewhere in that area is a pretty decent border for most images, and you're done. You've just added a border to your picture. You're ready to proceed in your exportation or anything else you want to do. Now, some caveats to this method: you can only add a white border, and it only works with photos that you have not cropped. I'm going to reset this, and let's say I wanted to crop in just a little bit on the sign and the front of this building. There we go. Now though, if I go down to scale, it's going to scale that image, and it makes it very wonky, and it doesn't compensate for the crop. So this only works on images that you have completely finished and not cropped and exported, or the pictures that you've cropped and exported and brought them back into Lightroom. So keep that in mind. Now, the good news with this method is that it works virtually exactly the same over in Lightroom CC, Lightroom Creative Cloud. Now, this is the same building, just from a very different angle. All we have to do, same principle, all we have to do to add a border to this is go up to our basic edits, geometry. We'll click on that, but you have all the same options here. You have scale again, and we'll do the exact same thing. Bring that to 94. Let's go to 90. Let's just go to 90, somewhere around in there. There we go. Now we have a border. The same rules apply though. You can't crop the image here. You can't crop it and then do the scale. It's going to look the same way it did in Classic, but luckily it works the same way. And if you want to bring it back in to Lightroom CC after you've finished your edits, and if you've cropped your photos, it'll work just like this. Now, moving back over to Lightroom Classic, I'm going to reset that crop and show you another equally easy way to make a border around your pictures, but this way is much more versatile. You can add different colors, the whole deal. All we're going to do is move from the Develop module over to the Print module. I've got it set on a 8x10, I believe it's an 8x10. Yes, one 8x10 pre-made template here. This is going to be in your version of Lightroom 9.3 as well. Select that, or whatever size that you want to work with. Go up to Image Settings here at the top right, and you will notice an option called Stroke Border. Click that. And then this works virtually the same way as scale. Slide it in either direction, and you're adding a border to your image. And now this is where the print module becomes much more versatile than the develop module when it comes to adding a border here in Lightroom Classic, because you can change the color here. Of course, it starts off as monotone, but all you need to do is slide this little bar up. You have literally any color of the rainbow. If you want to turn it to white, slide that up to the very top. You see that's added a white border around our image. You can go with red, you can go with blue, green, literally anything that you want there. The only thing you have to watch out for is that you are moving by points. Now, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I really don't know what points mean. I don't think it means pixels, but I may be wrong. Luckily though, Adobe has provided you with this little ruler at the top and the left side here, so you can kind of approximate the size of your border relative to your image. Very cool way to add a border in the print module. They keep this buried. Very cool indeed. Unfortunately though, you can't do this in Lightroom CC. You can only do it in Lightroom Classic. Now, moving on to the last method, and personally my favorite way to add a border to your image, is done in Photoshop, but don't let that scare you. I promise this is just as easy. I've got the same image we were working with at the beginning opened up here in Photoshop, and all you have to do to add a border is go up to Image, and I'm going to show you a keyboard shortcut here in just a second. Go up to Image, go to Canvas Size. Now personally, I like to leave it on inches, but you can change this to virtually any kind of measurement that you want. Millimeters, centimeters, pixels, picas, anything like that. I like inches, and generally I add a 1-inch border around my photos. To do that, this particular picture is 32 by 22 inches roughly. I'm going to change the 33 to 35. Remember, that's going to be 1 inch on either side, so that's halving that 2. So 1 inch, 1 inch, 35. There you go. And then do the same thing to the 22, make that 24. Click OK. And we've added an instant 1-inch white border around our picture. We'll take that off. Let's say I wanted to add a different color border, kind of like we did in the print module of Lightroom Classic. We just go back to Canvas Size, do this again, so 35, and then 24. Go to your color. They have presets here. You have white, black, gray. Usually that's pretty good, but if you want to add anything, literally in the rainbow, we have this same, more or less the same color selection here that we had in Lightroom Classic's print module, so you can change that to anything you want. Let's just make that kind of a light blue, teal, aqua. Click OK and OK. And now you have your border if you want to make it that color. And if you want to save yourself a little bit of clicking here, folks, the keyboard shortcut to get to the canvas size for Windows systems is Control-Alt-C. Brings that up. Or you can just do Command-Alt-C on a Mac, and it will do the exact same thing. I hope you enjoyed this little tutorial, guys. Thank you so much again for joining us here at Contrastly. Check out our Lightroom Mastery ebook for all things concerning Lightroom, and also our Decoding Lightroom video e-course. If you have any questions or comments, well, leave those down there in the comment section below. I'm Adam Welch. Have a great day, folks.